Okay, let us start the today class. Good morning to all of you once again. And as in the last class, we are discussing the research design, and we have gone through the two types of the basic research design, that is exploratory and the descriptive. The most important for us as an engineer or the manufacturing engineer is the experimental one, and we are going to focus more upon that part. There are so many types of the designs. Okay, so we are not going to discuss in detail the all types, because that has no relevance to this course. What is relevant to our course, that should be discussed in this class. So let's start from the, we are at the this slide in the previous classes, right? And we have seen that the FISED have the great contribution toward the experimental research or design, right? He was a scientist from the agriculture science, and he had done a lot of the research in that area to improve the productivity of the crops. Before we move to there, discuss the minute details about the experimental design, let's have a concept out the some basic terms, right? Like dependent and independent variables, extraneous variables, what is the control, what is the confounded relationship, what are the experimental and non-experimental hypothesis testing research. Okay, that will make us understand the coming concept in the experimental design in a better way. What is the treatment and how we are going to define the experiment, right? So we are going to discuss all these things in the today's lecture. So let us start from the dependent and independent variables. If one variable, you know the variable, right? Can anyone tell me what to mean by the variable? Anyone? What do you mean by the variable? Am I audible? Are you able to listen me? Hello?
Hello, Tatas.
Yeah, I think you all are not sleeping. I am asking a question. What do you mean by the variable? Hmm? Are you getting my question? How to define the variable?
Can I continue?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes, yes, tell. I am asking.
Hello?
I asked a question that what do you mean by the variable?
Okay,
Anyone?
so can I continue?
Yes.
Can I go? Okay, this is Kirubin. I think variable means it is a parameter or a quantity that are changing with some other parameter or other the quantities. It may be dependent, or the variable might be independent of that circumstance. But variable means that is changing with some other corresponding quantities or issues.
Yeah, you are right that variable is a parameter or any quantity that can take different values. Like we can say the temperature. Temperature If you're going to measure the temperature, if you're going to represent the T, that can have a different value at a different time of days. In the morning, that should be the lower value. In the afternoon, that should be a higher value, like that one. So that is going to vary with respect to something. So if that is going to change, so that kind of parameter will be known as the variables one. And in the experiment, generally we deal with the variables. There are some variables, they are known as the dependent variables, some are the independent variables. Like if one variable depends upon the consequence or value of the other variable, it is known as the dependent variable. Like for instance, you can take this example. If you say that height of a person depends upon the age, generally, I'm not talking about the exceptional cases, okay? Generally, the height of a person depends upon the age up to certain age, okay? Not throughout the age. After a certain age, height ceases to increase, okay? Then height, in that case, height should be a dependent variable that depends upon the age, and age is the independent variable that is not depending on anything, okay? So if any variable is dependent on another one, the value of that variable is going to change by changing the other variable. That variable should be known as a dependent, right? So that is the difference between the two types of the variables. What is the extraneous variable? In any experiment, when you're going to design, some variable are directly part of your experiment. You're going to consider that one. And some variables are extraneous. They are not included in the consideration or the study. They are assumed having the constant or some sort of the effect or no effect at all, right? But in actual, why we remove some variables from the experiment, don't consider, because their impact may not be so comprehensive, so big on the output or on that phenomena, or maybe using the current theory, whatever theoretical knowledge or technology we have, we are not able to capture that variable in the particular experiment. That may be a limitation, right? So that kind of variable, they are independent, that are not related to the purpose of the study, but may be affecting the output in terms of the dependent variables, are known as the extraneous variables, right? Whenever you're going to design any experiment, any research, we have to make sure that we can minimize, or if possible, we should remove any effect happening due to the extraneous variables, right? That we learned when we are going to do some topic on the design of experiment or like that one in the later classes, okay? Third thing, parameter or the term you should know, that a control. Control generally designed, or the instrument you're going to use, your type of the experiment you're going to perform in a particular environment or so on, so that the effect of the extraneous variable may be minimized or removed. So in a controlled environment, you can take the example of whenever you are discussing any chemical reaction, and there you see that STP, standard temperature and pressure. When you're going to maintain that, because chemical reaction dependent upon the temperature and pressure, different kind of result you will get at the different temperature and pressure. So when you are going to control these parameters, and then you are going to perform some reactions or some experiments. So fixing of that parameter is known as the control. You are controlling that one, right? So I think you have understood these three concepts: dependent and dependent variables, extraneous variables, and the control. Another concept we have of the confounded relationship. If the dependent variable, the output, in which terms you are going to get the output, is not free from the influence of extraneous. It's possible that you can't get free out of the extraneous variable that are not considered. Then the relationship between the dependent and the independent variable is said to be confounded by the extraneous. That is confounded, that dependent upon the extraneous variables also, right? So that is the confounded relationship may happen during the experimentation. What are the different kind of the experimental and the non-experimental hypothesis testing research? When you are going to test the hypothesis, can anyone tell me what to mean by the hypothesis? Already we have discussed in the class. Anyone? Be responsive, participate. When I'm asking any question to you, please answer as quickly as possible. Can anyone tell me what do mean by the hypothesis?
I think hypothesis is I think there is some experiment or some research, or there might be some calculation based on that research or experiment or analysis. One can forecast or estimate or guess the outcome based on that previously done experiment or tasks. That might be a hypothesis. We can say that this is hypothesis. It's not a guess, just it is based on the previous experience.
You are right to some extent, but what you told that it is not a guess, that may be a guess, okay? A smart guess. Okay. Any kind of relationship between the dependent and independent variable. If you're going to make a hypothesis, means making an assumption, assuming something, right? Let's say surface finish is dependent upon the speed or in the machining or turning operation or cutting speed or whatever speed you want. You are taking an assumption, right? And then you're going to perform the experiment to prove it or disprove it, reject it, accept it or reject it, right? So that kind of, you can take any assumptions, a smart guess that is relevant to the your experiment or your objective you want to achieve through the research, right? So hypothesis is any kind of statement. Generally, there are two parts. One is the if something is happening, then something will be there. Okay. So if something is happening, here the independent variable will come. If speed is increased, let's say, for example, if speed is increased, then surface finish will be good, or we'll get a better surface finish then. So there is an if and then statement. That means output surface finish dependent upon the input speed, right? That assumptions we have to. Now we have to perform your experiment to prove this one or disprove, reject this one. In the both cases, you are going to acquire some information, some knowledge, and that is the purpose of the research, to understand the phenomena, what is happening there, right? So here, when the purpose of the study is test a research hypothesis, it termed as a hypothesis testing research. That means you are going to test whether your hypothesis is true or false, whether that should be accepted or rejected. That can be done by the two types of things. One is the experimental design, another is the non-experimental design. What is the difference between these two? If the independent variable is manipulated, is the term as the experimental hypothesis testing. Like in the most of the cases, in our case, manufacturing or engineering case, we manipulate the independent variable. Like if you want to study the surface roughness, how that is dependent upon the speed. So here surface roughness is the dependent variable, and speed is the independent variable. And what we do, we change the speed and measure the surface roughness at the different speed. So what we are doing, we are manipulating the independent variable, that is speed, right? So this kind of research is known as the experimental hypothesis testing research. If there is a research in which the independent variable is not manipulated, is called the non-experimental hypothesis testing. How? Let's say there is a class of the 50 students. Okay? And we want to correlate between the IQ level and their final output, intelligence level, and how they are going to perform in the test. Through some experiments, some tools, we try to measure the IQ level, okay, of each student, and then we look upon the test result. But here, remember that you can establish the relationship between the IQ level and the test result based upon the data, but you won't be able to change the IQ level of the students. That cannot be manipulated. Understood that? So that kind of research, where independent variable is not manipulated, you are not able to manipulate that, you are not able to change that one. That kind of research is known as the non-experimental hypothesis testing result. Here there is a hypothesis. We want to connect between the two things. One is the IQ level, another is the performance in a particular test. How IQ level is going to influence that one. But here you can't change the IQ levels. Okay. So this is the difference between these two types. Now coming to the another concept generally used in the experiment is known as the treatments. There may be the different kind of treatments. If you look upon the medical terms, terminology, for the single disease, there can be different kind of treatments, different kind of drug delivery, different kind of caring. Like take the example of the cancer. For the cancer, there can be so many types of the therapy or treatments available. Like some can go for the immunotherapy, some can go for the chemotherapy. Okay. There are different type of the, so when you're going to change the approach or some parameters when doing the experiment, that will be known as the treatment. So we can say that different conditions under which experimental and control groups are put. Phenomena is same thing, experiment is same, but the condition will be different. Like your disease is cancer, but in the one way that is treated through the chemotherapy, in the other way that is treated through the immunotherapy. Some other person can use some sort of the genetic engineering to treat that one, like this one. So there are the different treatments you are making, different conditions for the same problem, and under which you are going to observe that one. Like the more relevant, you can take the example. If you want to determine through an experiment that comparative impact of the 3-tool geometry of the cutting tools, you know the cutting tools have the geometry, and generally the known as the, in terms of the tool signature, we define that one having the 7 parameters, right? On the surface reference, how the tool geometry is going to affect the surface reference, and 3 different tool geometry we are going to use. In that case, these 3 different geometry of tool we treat as 3 treatments, 3 different conditions under which we are going to put, right? 3 different tools we are going to use. In that case, there may be result may be different in all the 3 cases, right? So a set of the condition you are going to use for a particular experiment will be known as the treatment. If there will be any question, any doubt coming to your mind, you can raise your hand anytime, right? Now coming to our experiment. Simply we can say that in a very simple way, experiment is a study in which researcher or investigator manipulates. What we manipulate generally, I am not talking of the second kind of the hypothesis testing design. We are talking of the experiment type. So here researcher can manipulate or vary independent variable. If you are going to take the two variables, like say speed and the surface roughness for the machining operation, here speed, we are going to find out the effect of the speed, impact of the speed on the surface roughness. So speed should be the independent variable. So you are going to manipulate or change or vary the independent variables and measure the other variables, and then you are going to measure the surface roughness, and that surface roughness is dependent upon the speed. When an experiment is possible, it is the most effective method of the testing a hypothesis. Sometimes some experiment may be not possible, like that happens. So that is a non-experimental type hypothesis testing will happen there. When you are able to perform the experiment, and that is mostly the case in the engineering, we are able to do that one. Because we are working in the applied area of the science, already some tool technology has been developed. So when an experiment is possible, it is the most effective method to testing a hypothesis. That is, one variable x casually influence another variable y. That means y is a function of x, right? Some more insight about the experiment. The process of examining the truth of the statistical hypothesis. Generally, there should be an hypothesis, a assumption, some statement, if and then, has to be proved by using the experiment. And that hypothesis should be related to your research problem, what you are trying to solve, right? And for that, you are going to create some conditions in which you are going to analyze or observe that phenomena, record the data related to the input and output. That should be known as the experiment, right? Experiment can be of two types. One is the absolute experiment, another is the comparative. How do we differentiate between these two types of experiments? Let's say, taking the earlier example, if you want to determine the impact of a tool geometry on surface roughness, right? It is a case of the absolute experiment. How the tool geometry is going to affect changing the rake angle or back rake angle or relief angle or changing the nose radius of a tool. How that is going to affect the surface roughness. This is the absolute experiment. But if we want to determine the impact of the one geometry as compared to the other, some other geometry, means two different geometry are compared, how they are going to impact the roughness. That kind of study should be known as the comparative study or comparative experiment. When you are going to study the direct relationship between the tool geometry and surface roughness, that is the absolute. But if you are going to vary the tool geometry, different tool geometry, and compare tool geometry in itself, which is better one for the surface roughness, like that should be known as the comparative. And generally, when we design the experiment, we undertake the comparative experiments, because you have to be sure which parameter set of condition is favorable, more appropriate, more optimized for us, right? So that is all about the concept of the experiment. There are three basic principles that is applicable when you are doing the any experimental design. The principle of replication, the principle of randomization, and principle of local control. We'll try to understand these topics, these principles. Replication means replicate something and making copy of that one. If you remember when in your bachelor's or some other courses you are performing any experiment, for the same set of the parameters, your investigator or the instructor or whosoever supervising your experiment will ask you to take at least 2 or 3 readings, 3 or 4 readings. Why so? There may be chances of the biasness due to the any factor. Okay. If you are taking only one reading, and if at that time there is some biasness, some errors in the instrument or the measurement or whatever that may be, there may be different sources of different sources of errors possible. How can you minimize that one? Sometimes your value is coming low due to some source. Sometimes your value is coming high due to some source. So what do? You repeat the experiment for 3, 4 times and take the average value. By taking that one, if sometimes going above, that value will come down. Sometimes going below, that value will come up. So you are going to get an average value. And by that way, we can minimize that kind of errors. That's why replication is taken, or should be happen. So according to this principle of the replication, the experiment should be repeated more than once. If you're going to perform the experiment only one time and there is some biasness, that will be there, and due to that you are going to get the error in your results. So minimize that. We have to repeat the experiment. Thus, each treatment is applied in many experiment units instead of one. So each treatment, what is the treatment? One set of the condition. Treatment is the one set of the condition. Let's say you define that, okay, cutting speed is a 10 meter per second or whatever that may be. Okay, depth of cut is this much, feed rate is this much. This is a one set of condition, one treatment. If you change any one out of this one, your treatment will be changed. And what we are trying to achieve by doing so, the statistical accuracy of the experiment is increased. How? That minimize any kind of errors or biasness when we take the average values. Okay, try to understand by the different way. If I have to give the data about the average height of the Ethiopian male, someone asking what is the height of an Ethiopian male, and I go and measure the one person's height and tell that, okay, this is the height of the Ethiopian male. Is it correct? No. If I increase the number of people in that data collection, some are short, some are long, and like that one. So more and more data you're going to collect, the height will be stabilized and you will get the average value correct one. Same thing we are doing here in the experiment also. So at least 3 value for a particular set of condition has to be taken. That means one experiment, one treatment has to be repeated 3 times. Generally we follow like that one. Now coming to randomization. if we randomize the experiment, not in the fixed order, but in the random order, sometimes taking the speed like this one. If you're going to follow a pattern, there may be some pattern in the errors also. So what we do, we randomize, and that gives us protection about or minimize the effect of the extraneous factor that is not considered in our experiment. Right? How to achieve the randomization we'll discuss in detail during the design of experiment topic. Okay. And third one is the local control. This is also used for, okay, used for the treating the different component of the experiment and provide the equal number of treatment, right, to the some conditions. So local control, like you are going to control the your parameters in the particular fashion so that you can minimize the effect of the external factors. Already I discussed this one, the example of the STP in the chemical reactions or like that one. Okay. So that was all about the experimental. Next topic that should be the, I think, the sampling design. But before sampling design, if we have started the experiment, it would be more appropriate to go for the design of experiment, how to design experiment. That is more relevant to our course. Sampling design, okay, that is also relevant if someone is going to do the some survey or some solving the some management issue like that one. For them, sampling design and other topics are more relevant. But for the most of the people who are going to do their research by using the some experimental tool, design of experiment and the data analysis part will be important one. So let me decide in the next class what we are going to talk about. But out of these two, sampling design or design of experiment, out of these topics, we are going to discuss the one. Okay. Now we have about 5 minutes of the class time left. If you have any question or anything you want to discuss, that is welcome. You can ask anything that is relevant to this course, this content, or you're relevant to your assignments, whatever that may be. Okay. Do we have any question? Anyone? Any doubt? No questions? Ask questions. Only two type of people don't ask questions. I'm
Okay,
not
sir,
saying.
give me chance.
Okay, 1 minute. Only two type of people don't ask question anywhere. One that is knowing everything.
Give me chance, please, sir.
Yeah, coming to it. One type of people, they know each and everything. They don't ask any question because they already know all the things. Rarely you can get this kind of people. And another kind of people, they know nothing.
Hello.
They don't ask any question. So between these two, if you are between these two, you know something, you want to improve your knowledge base, always there should be some question. Yeah, go ahead, ask.
Okay, give me the chance.
Yeah.
Is it possible to prepare a project proposal?
That should be another assignment in this course. You are supposed to prepare the research proposal for your thesis. That should be submitted in the next semester. That should be another assignment in the pipeline. Okay. When time will come, I will give that one. Yeah. Any other question? You are going to get an assignment upon that one. Don't worry. First, we have to discuss about how to prepare the research proposal, project proposal. Okay.
Okay, sir, can I continue?
Yeah.
Okay, I have only one question. My question is, yesterday and today's concept is research design. Research design, does it included on the paper itself, the research or the thesis, or it might be our document? Is it included on the thesis, or it is a platform that you are going to do our research? What is the real issue?
Yeah, if that is not related to your research, I won't be discussing here. Whatever we are discussing here, that is very much relevant to your thesis or your research. Research design comes in the chapter of the research methodology, third chapter presented in your thesis. In research methodology, you are going to give the layout, how you are going to perform the research. There, your research design will come into picture. That should be a topic in your research methodology chapter. Generally, that chapter is chapter number 3. First chapter is the introduction chapter. Second chapter is the literature review in your thesis. Third is the research methodology. Then fourth may be the materials and experimentation, whatever that may be. Fifth should be, already I discussed that one, the order in which you are going to write your thesis. Am I clear?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, we are left with only 1 minute of time.
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm good too. And I have one idea, not question.
Yeah.
Regardless of participating on your class, some of students are attending your class from library. So we are participating, we are attending your class from library.
Okay.
So we can't participate regardless of asking or answering your question. So please recognize us.
I'm not getting. You are participating from the library.
Yeah.
You are attending class from the library, college library.
Here in our campus, we are participating from library, so we can't participate regardless of asking or answer your question.
No, so you are in the library, or you are at home, or you are in the some cyber cafe. This is the online class. What is the difference that is going to make?
No, what I mean to say is, when you say that ask or participate in the class, we are disturbing our